Lecture topic: Discussing the pandemic.
Currently, many people are very, very overwhelmed, overcome by the situation, by the circumstances. So one is human nature, that when something is out of the ordinary, something is very major, then it's human nature that a person becomes affected by it. He takes some impact from whatever the circumstances are around it. It's part of human nature. But the thing is that impact that comes on the heart, then what? That's part of human nature and it's insan. But what does it then drive a person towards? One is that it drives many a person towards non-stop discussion, that what is happening and what more happened, so that discussion continues, and after the discussion what? So that's one part of it. Obviously some degree of some mention someday will happen, that's expected, but where this becomes the standard occupation thereafter, that all the time a person is now just discussing the same thing, the happenings around, etc., which is a reality. But what did he achieve after all that lengthy non-stop discussions out of it? That didn't benefit him in any way, because often it's after the whole discussion was over, everybody wakes up and that's the end of the story and achieve nothing out of it. So that is actually a very great tragedy then, that something that has had an impact on a person's heart, and that impact was supposed to have then brought about some kind of action. Because this is what Deen teaches us. Deen is all about action, Amal. It's two things. One is, in Arabic, the words are very close. One is Amal, with the Hamza. Amal means hope. So there's never despondency. In Deen, means life, there's never despondency. But with hope, there isn't just sitting idle and doing nothing. With Amal, there's Amal, Ain. There's hope also, but then it's accompanied with action. So now what action did it drive a person towards? Now the least action would have been, for example, that it would make him increase his extent of dua. But now the thing to consider and to check within ourselves, that has this, the amount of time that was spent in discussing circumstances and the situation, etc., if some portion of that time was dedicated towards dua also, that would have helped us, it would have helped others also. But that idle discussion didn't help us, didn't help anybody. Now one is that idle discussion does the opposite in both ways. One is, it starts making a person despondent, because of the same thing is being repeated, but of no benefit to repeat it, just go on and on talking about the same thing. So now that is obviously negative news. So that negative news, non-stop negative news, it must have an impact on the heart and mind in making the person negative all the time, because he's not doing any action with it. He's not now moving himself forward to do something positive. So now he's just talking negative all the time. So that negative news non-stop must have an impact on his heart and mind. He starts thinking negative, he starts feeling negative. What he achieved out of it. So now that starts creating that Amal, that Hamza, that goes opposite now, that despondency comes, because of the non-stop just same discussion without any end and of no benefit. And when that despondency comes, then it kills Amal also. It kills that Amal, because now the person feels what's to do. Whereas there's so much to do, and there's never a moment of despondency in the life of a mu'min. Yes, he also gets impacted by things, he also feels pain, he feels emotion, he feels all whatever other insan feel, but a mu'min doesn't get despondent. He always, Allah Ta'ala has left the door of hope wide open for him, and all the incidents that we find that have been mentioned in the Quran Sharif, in the Sirat of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Sahaba Ikram, and all throughout history, all this is to bring alive the same hope and to give the direction, that what is the Amal must remain, and what's the Amal, what's the action to do thereafter. That's what we need to consider, how much of amal we have been bringing alive further, how much more dua we brought alive, how much of zikr, how much of further improvement in our life we brought. فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا. Allah Ta'ala says, when our azab came, why didn't it make them become more humble and beseech us more? Have we done that? This is what we have to now start making amal on, start considering for ourselves and encouraging others as well.
अल्लाह अल्लाह कैसा प्यारा नाम है, आशिकों का मीना और जाम है।